Welcome to the part 2 of chapter 5. So, in the part 1, we have discussed about civil services that was introduced by the Cornwallis to check the corruption, corruption between the British officials present into the India. Okay, and that still we continue with that. Similarly, army and the police that were the another two pillars that was introduced by the British officials to check the corruption. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to talk about the army, okay, and the police section. So the four important functions that were present at an instrument which Indian powers were like conquered. So see what happens in the army. So army was like, within the army, it was like the person who will fight, that won't be killed, that can be killed in any war. Okay, now for these things Indian were hired. Okay, for these things Indian were hired. Now why Indians were hired? Because they were getting one important thing into this section, that they were getting paid, and it was paid on time. This thing was absent when they were doing the same work for the rulers present within the India at the time. Okay, so that was the key part present within the Indian official, that they started to work for the British. Okay, now these Indian people, these army were who? Army were Indian people only. Okay, now these Indian people used to fight against Indian only. Fight against who? Fight against Indian only. Why they were fighting Indian to Indian? What was the reason behind it? What made them to fight against Indian to Indian? The main thing, they were not recognizing that they are also Indian. Okay, if I am recognizing that you are my brother, I won't hurt you. Okay, that kind of sense was not present at the time. Those people, those Indian people who were working for the British Army, were not recognizing other people as the Indian one. What was the reason behind? There was a lack of nationalism present at the time. Lack of nationalism feeling at the time. There was no feeling of Indian at the time. Territorial things was not present at large extent. Okay, thus they started to fight against for the British and started to kill the Indians if it is required. They started to suppress the revolt if it is required. Okay, so that was one another aspect. Okay, and the third another aspect was that Indian people even today, they were true to the salt. Okay, that that the person who is paying them, they want to go against that people. Okay, so that's, even today the Indian people have that kind of feeling. If someone is paying me, if I am working for that and that person is paying me, so I will work till the end of my breath for that person, till that he is paying me. Okay, so that kind of feeling was there. So who was paying to that people, to that army? It was paid by the British people. So they won't go against that, against that people. So that kind of feeling was present. Thus Indian people were used to work under the army. Okay, so it fulfilled the army, the second pillar of that administration. It fulfilled the four functions of the British. Okay, what are the four functions? An instrument through which Indian powers were conquered, because they knew, they are familiar with the Indian cultures and all. Okay, so it was an instrument kind of thing that will help to conquering the Indian powers. Okay, defending the British Empire in India from foreign rivals. Okay, even if there is a loss of life, British were not going to be killed. It was the Indian people. Okay, they are going to suffer. Safeguard the British supremacy from the ever-present threat of internal revolts. Why? Because these are the Indian people only who are safeguarding the British. So the chances of revolt happening within the territory was very less. And even if this kind of things will happen, they will come to know because they are the local people. Okay, so there are more chances that they will come to know for any future revolt. A chief instrument of extending and defending the British Empire in Asia and Africa. Okay, so whenever there is a trade will be there, or any slave trading kind of things were there, so these people were the key instrument for anything transferring, or any fight, or or if any fight is happening with the American, also these people were easily to be the transferable. Even when the fight happened with the Japan, World War, and all those things were happening. So these Indian people who shed their own blood, okay, in favor of supporting the British. So these things we'll see in the end of this modern history lecture series. So they started to be recruited in bulky, mainly from the area at present UP and Bihar. The highest Indian officials post for the Indians in the army was Subedar. Okay, and later it was like a DSP post was created, but for those higher posts, again the British officers will say no, not Indian people. So further, British troops were being paid higher wages than Indians. It was a surprise that a handful of British officials controlled India with predominantly Indian army. So it was like the Indian people only started to attack against their Indian own people and helping the British official to rule India. They were less in number, even though these Indian people were supporting them. So what was the reason behind? Just now I have discussed that thing. I have jotted it here. So this was possible because of two factors. One, lack of modern nationalism within the country, and the Indian soldiers had a tradition of loyalty to this art. So in other words, the Indian soldiers was a good mercenary, and company on its part was a good paymaster. Who is the paying to them? They will be faithful to them. So it paid soldiers regularly and well, something that the Indian rulers and the chieftains were no longer doing. Okay, thus the Indian people were working with the favor of British, and British found a key instrument to control the Indian revolts. Police. So the creator Cornwallis, who created those things, army, police, and your UPSC exams and all, so to check the corruption, the three pillars that were created to control the administration of the British. So here the police was also created by Cornwallis. So he relieved jamindars from the police functions and established a regular police force to maintain law and order. So it was like earlier it was jamindar was responsible for checks and balances for the peasants and all. Okay, so now they introduced a police thing into the administration as a third pillar. So modernized old and Indian system of thanas headed by the Daroga, who was an Indian. Still these kind of hierarchies present today, and that sometimes raise awards of criticism against it. So this put India ahead of Britain, where a system of police had not developed yet. Until now, we are following these things. Later, DSP post was created to head the police in districts, and once again, Indians were excluded from that post. Police gradually succeeded in reducing the major crimes such as robbery, and police were used to prevent conspiracy from foreign control and control of the national movements in suppressing them. So it was just like a key instrument for them suppressing the revolts of the Indian people, just like the Indian people were used to suppressing their own revolts. If we see in the broad sense as the nationalist kind of things. But at the time, that kind of was not present, thus, Indian people were used to attack their own brother. It was like they were just knowing their own territorial area, and further, they were paid well on time by the British people, thus, they were faithful to their sort. I hope you have liked this video. Please like and subscribe. This is a new channel. We really need your support. Further, we will proceed to the another part 3 where we will see the judicial review, judicial introduction and all. That's for the chapter 5 that is given in the Bipin Chandra. Please like and subscribe. You can, if you have any doubt, just feel free to put your doubts on the comment section, or tweet on my Twitter handle, or connect with the Twitter handle, or other links that is partner on my channel. Thank you.